What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again, giving you guys another review. After 8 episodes of Season 1, and now that it's finally come to a close, guys, I am finally going to be reviewing The Mandalorian, which is on Disney+, created by Jon Favreau, has an amazing cast involved in it: Pedro Pascal, Gina Carano, Carl Weathers, Nick Nolte, Giancarlo Esposito, and Bill Burr. If you guys are new here, feel free to click that subscribe button and that bell notification icon for more reviews, reactions, rankings, and more movie content. Before I talk about The Mandalorian, guys, I just gotta let you know this review is going to contain spoilers in it. It's going to be part spoiler-free and spoiler-filled. So if you haven't seen The Mandalorian at all, definitely go watch it on Disney+. So without further ado, let's talk about The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian takes place after Return of the Jedi, after the fall of the Empire, and before the rise of the First Order. We follow this bounty hunter called the Mandalorian, who is played by Pedro Pascal, and he is collecting bounties left to right. He gets this new bounty assignment from this guy, and he goes to this place and finds the bounty itself, what they want. He decides to not collect it as a bounty and bring it back. He decides to keep it for his own and keep it safe. And along the journey, the Mandalorian meets along with some other characters, and at all costs trying to protect Baby Yoda from these bad people. Disney Plus came aboard, and Disney Plus is the biggest streaming service now, and they announced that they're going to be making a lot of original Disney Plus shows on there, and The Mandalorian was one of those shows, and it was created by Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau is an amazing creator, director, and actor, and he brought along some amazing people to direct each episode, like Bryce Dallas Howard, Dave Filoni, Taika Waititi, etc., etc. I've always wanted to know a creative Star Wars story from a character we haven't seen before. After the fall of the Empire and before the First Order, we follow on this new journey, a bounty hunter like Boba Fett or Jango Fett. So what are my overall thoughts on Disney Plus's The Mandalorian? I think this is a great show. Really cool concept for a Star Wars show. I loved each episode. Some episodes were a little iffy, but overall, I thought Disney Plus did a great job making this, and it's a really awesome show. We're going to go episode per episode, talk about the things I really liked and the things I didn't really like. I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes of build-up with the Mandalorian getting this new bounty assignment, and then he comes across Baby Yoda at the end of episode 1, and then he meets this really killing, intense droid, IG-11, played by Taika Waititi. This droid's really awesome, I must say. In the first episode where he's shooting down all those guys, all those troopers, this was a great introduction to an awesome side character in IG-11. And when him and the Mandalorian meet up, they're talking about this assignment, and then they come across the asset, which is Baby Yoda. Such an awesome moment. And then IG-11 decides he has to kill the target, and the Mandalorian wants to save and protect them. It's a great build-up episode. It gets us right into the story and what it's trying to present. The Mandalorian going away from what it normally does. Bounty hunters do the job that is presented to him. And with the Mandalorian, he gets these assignments from Carl Weathers' character, who gives him the jobs to do. And if you cross Carl Weathers' character up, he is going to come after you. And he does in the future, and the Mandalorian has to try to find other allies, and then we come across Nick Nolte's character. I'm totally going to butcher this character's name. Kawilla, is that his name? Kawili? Someone should let me know in the comments, but Nick Nolte's character is really awesome in this show. He provides a lot of great moments, like I have spoken, and he has this really awesome animal and shows the Mandalorian some things and agrees to protect the child as well. I like how the show brought in the Jawas in episode 2, that chase sequence with the Mando and those Jawas. Brings back that vehicle from A New Hope, and it's cool to see some cool flashback and fan service from the original trilogy. Episode 3 and 4 introduces great action sequences into the show. I love episode 3 when it goes right to the intensity with Carl Weathers' character now that he finds out the Mandalorian crossed him by actually not bringing the bounty back and protecting the bounty instead. He decides to turn on him, and it leads to an incredible action sequence in the finale of episode 3, where we get the introduction to the other Mandalorian characters involved. This also introduced Baby Yoda's awesome moments in episode 2, where he uses the Force on that rhino creature, which is a great moment for the character of Baby Yoda. And it introduces his abilities as well. He knows how to force heal by touching somebody's injured thingy, and he uses the Force to heal them. It's a great ability Baby Yoda has. And he just has the funniest moments in the show. He's so adorable. Anytime Baby Yoda's on screen, you want it to stay on Baby Yoda. Love, love, love episode 4. This is the introduction to Cara Dune, Gina Carano's character. She's a shock trooper, and her fight scene with the Mandalorian, just because they have differences, and then Baby Yoda's just slurping soup and watching. So awesome. It's the episode where they save this village from that giant ATST. They're trying to protect this village, train them for the big battle, and it's just cool to see the human side of the Mandalorian. And they start talking about him taking off his mask. They bring this up a lot in the show, which we'll get into for sure. And it's just great to see him taking on the responsibility of being a father figure for Baby Yoda, as well as accepting what he has become now. Episode 5 and 6 go a little iffy in terms of the direction. You're like, okay, is the show just going to be about the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda completing a mission and going to the next one? Because in episode 5, we get introduced to this random character who wants to get back into the guild, and so he teams up with Mando to basically betray him by the end. Very obvious twist. Didn't really like that episode, in all honesty. We meet this cool badass character, and then she gets wasted. And then it introduces a very interesting question. Who was that person that came in the final seconds of this episode? We see the feet, and then it cuts to black. There's great speculation that that's Boba Fett. I could definitely believe in that speculation. We'll see if they actually resurrect Boba Fett in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Episode 6 as well, we'll get into that. It's the introduction to Bill Burr's character and these other fighters basically prisoning the Mandalorian and them trying to complete some mission. They betray him, and so the Mando has to imprison them. I just felt those episodes were like filler episodes and didn't really do much to progress the overall story. 7 and 8, though, gave me everything I wanted from the show. The intensity and the overall story coming to a conclusion. When Gus Fring, Giancarlo Esposito, comes out of that TIE fighter in the finale to episode 7, basically kills off Quilly, Nick Nolte's character. It's a shocking moment for sure. It goes right to a huge cliffhanger, and it's what we wanted to see. The high stakes of the show, Baby Yoda getting captured, and our heroes being put in a difficult situation. But now let's talk about episode 8, the newest episode that just came out, the grand conclusion to season 1, because this episode brought a lot of epic moments to it. It brings up a lot of flashbacks to the Mandalorian's past as a child and him getting rescued by the other Mandalorians, and it definitely leads us to anticipate what his character has been like throughout his childhood. He's been trained by the Mandalorians. He becomes this badass killer. IG-11 sacrifices himself, gets blown up to save his people. It was great to see him actually make that sacrifice because he almost killed Baby Yoda in the first episode. And Taika Waititi directed this final episode, must I say, and he did a great job playing IG-11 and directing this episode in particular. Moff Gideon fights the Mandalorian with the TIE fighter, and then it gets blown up, and we see the Mandalorian take Baby Yoda somewhere. He flies off, and then we see the TIE fighter that gets destroyed, and Moff Gideon uses this darksaber weapon he has, and he steps on top, and he's looking for the Mandalorian. Know that he survived, obviously. We're going to see Giancarlo Esposito in Season 2, and I'm very curious to see what that darksaber is and what he's going to do in the next season. I still have some questions in terms of what happened this season overall. I'm very curious to see who that mysterious figure was in episode 5. I'm sure they'll show us who it was in the next season. Is it Boba Fett or was it Moff Gideon? I also really want to know more about Giancarlo Esposito's character because he seemed like a really interesting character. Was he a part of the Empire? Or is he the start of the First Order? I don't really know. We see the TIE fighters, we see the Stormtroopers, the Death Troopers. It makes me question, was there an Empire before the First Order? I'm very curious to know, and I want those questions answered. And I think the show did a great job of not showing or answering too much. It makes us speculate. It makes us have conversations of what's going to happen for the next season. I love The Mandalorian Season 1. This is a great show. Some iffy moments, not perfect overall, but I love the story, the characters, the action sequences, and the creative visions that each of these directors brought to every single episode. On my rating scale, I'm going to give The Mandalorian Season 1 a 4.5 out of 5 stars. There you have it, guys. That was my overall thoughts on Season 1 of The Mandalorian. So, guys, what are your thoughts on Season 1 of The Mandalorian? What are some of your favorite episodes and least favorite episodes, favorite moments about the show, your grade for the show, etc., etc.? Let's talk about it down below in the comment section. Thank you guys, as always, for watching this review of The Mandalorian. All my social media links are in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!